So today there is a question from David. I'm going to read this question. So he says, in modern psychology, cognitive behavioral therapy suggests that if we have developed a negative, unhelpful emotional pattern like social anxiety, we should respond as follows. First, notice the thought that triggered the emotion. Then, challenge that thought with your rational brain. Lastly, replace the thought with new, more rational and helpful thoughts. The emotion should fade as a result. In comparison, my understanding of Buddhist teaching is that in times of anxiety, a proper response is to merely observe the thoughts and the emotions that are occurring, neutrally and without judgment, attachment, or aversion. There's no need to consciously replace them with more helpful thoughts. Usually we will find that the negative emotion will fade once we accept and observe it. I'm interested in your understanding of how these two approaches compare. Are they complementary, or are there features of CBT that are not consistent with the Buddhist path? Okay, it's a very nice question. Now basically it's a question about the two aspects of also the Buddhist path. One aspect is cultivation, and another aspect is the aspect of letting go, of dropping, of abandoning. So the first one, she talks about cognitive behavioral therapy, so that you recognize that there is an unhelpful emotional thought pattern. And then he says you should challenge that thought with your rational brain and then replace the thought. So there is acknowledging the thought, there is challenging it, there is replacing it. So in that way you can train new habits. For example, we have certain thought habits. If you observe your thoughts, then you will notice that most of the thoughts that we have are recurring thoughts. They're constantly the same kind of tune that goes on in your mind. It's constantly the same stuff. So when you notice that some of these thoughts arise, then you will notice there's a second thing after the arising of a thought, and they're followed by emotion, by a certain type of feeling. And then the emotion usually is followed directly by a certain way of interacting with it. So for example, you try to get rid of it, or you try to get more of it, or you basically leave it alone. So when you notice that, for example, certain patterns, they arise continuously and they put you into a negative state, then it is skillful to replace them. Absolutely, and we should do so. But before you can replace a thought or an emotional pattern, you need to also know how to let go properly, or how to let be, how to allow yourself to actually have these thoughts or have these emotions. Many people, even before they allow themselves to be, they actually start to just manipulate themselves. So we very often come from that position of doing, not the position of being, or rather a position of constantly doing something. What can I do about this? An emotion arises, and then immediately we seek for something to do. What should I do with this? This emotion is wrong. I should only have right emotions. So the emotions which I'm having currently, that doesn't fit into my idea of how I should be. So therefore, what can I do to become the way I should be? So change is not possible if you're operating from that perspective. You're basically not accepting yourself at all. You're not even looking at the way you are. You just want to get rid of it. You don't really care to understand. So here the first step would be caring to understand, to actually allow and to have a look. See, there is anxiety. Anxiety is like this. To have a look at how does it actually arise, how does it work, how does it function. And within that process of studying it, of actually observing it, you can then replace it also with more helpful thoughts. For example, you can challenge that anxiety. You can say things like, let's say you are very scared of entering a 7-Eleven shop. So maybe you're very anxious to go into the shop. So that is an irrational fear. It's out of place. 7-Eleven is not really a scary place. So you go into the 7-Eleven shop, you observe that there's the arising of anxiety, you acknowledge that it is like this, yes, in my mind there's anxiety like this, and then you can challenge that thought and you can say, well, is it the truth? Is it scary? Is the 7-Eleven truly a scary place? And you can go through the shop looking for something that is really scary by itself. So here you're challenging that thought. Actually looking for whether it is true or not. In order to see that, really, I would encourage you also to confront whatever problem it is that you are having, like anxiety or fears or worries and so forth, and then investigate. Is it really true that what I feel, is it really true? Sometimes we were very scared of the future. I hope I will make it. It's very unlikely that I will make it. It's a very scary thing that's ahead of me. So we can challenge that. How do I know? Do I really know? Do I actually know the future? You can ask yourself these questions. This is skillful means. Asking yourselves skillful questions. But that requires mindfulness. We have to be present to know. If you're totally lost in your thoughts, you will not even know that you're here. Therefore, you have no way to change it. So both in Buddhism and in cognitive behavioral therapy, the first aspect of acknowledging is very important. It is mindfulness. You wake up to yourself. You wake up to what's going on. Oh, anxiety. Now that gives you various options. It gives you the option of actually changing it. It gives you the option of shifting your attention to something else that is more skillful, or it gives you the option to transcend it. And then of course, it is dependent on your level of skill. Let's say you have just started on the Buddhist path. You don't really know how to let go. You don't really know how to transcend. Your mind is such a mess, so chaotic, that there is no chance for you to shift your attention to somewhere else. Your attention is buzzing all over the place. So you can't really go deep there. You can't transcend, you can't shift your attention yet. So you have the option of actually changing that thought pattern, of creating a more wholesome or more skillful pattern. For example, instead of anger, you can cultivate kindness. Takes a while, but this is a very real option. And it is a valid option throughout the entire path. Also, when you know how to properly let go, then also it is important still to cultivate and refine one's personality. Because the personality is there. There is a personality at work, and you can refine that. And why would we refine a personality? It's very simple, for the sake of one's own and other people's well-being. No one wants to hang around someone that's constantly grumpy or abiding in negative energies. Even if you are able to let go, it still requires the aspect of cultivating right action, right thought, right livelihood, and so forth, it still requires that even you know how to let go. You still need to, how you say, it's like, it's not you let go one time and then you're done. But you let go and you cultivate, and you let go and you cultivate, and you let go and you cultivate, and it kind of spirals up in that way until you reach a point where the letting go is truly, truly complete. There is nothing for you to let go anymore. You have let go, you let go completely. You have deep inside. Then also there is no more practitioner of the path, there is no more cultivator of the path. Then the aspect of cultivation takes over by itself. But you have left the picture. A sense of a stable, solid self has left the picture. That is me who does the path. That is me who does the meditation. That is gone in that case. But however, up to that point, up to coming to that point, there is a whole lot of cultivation needed. Also, even after and beyond that point, there is still cultivation. You can see great masters, they're still cultivating. They're done internally, but they still cultivate. Their cultivation serves as an example for their students. It serves to keep structures intact which are of benefit to themselves and others. Like running a monastery, for example. That requires cultivation. It requires a vision. Otherwise, you can't do it properly. So there is a function that we fulfill in this world, and that function that, that works according to its causes. So if we know the causes of a certain thing that we want to achieve, then it is wise to practice those causes. The question is there still suffering? That's the big question. Because whether you have achieved enlightenment or not, there is still doing. An enlightened master will do a lot of things. Will go here and there, do this and that. Looks like a normal person. But internally they're completely free from suffering. There's no more drama going on. They're fully present at all times. Is this famous Zen quotation or Zen saying? It's like, before you're enlightened, you eat, you sleep, and you defecate. And after you've reached enlightenment, you eat, you sleep, and you defecate. That doesn't really change. The only thing that changes is that you are now living your life free from suffering. There is no more stress. And you still have to go pee, and you still have to eat food. You still have to interact with other beings every now and then, unless you're living somewhere in a cave, and that is not an option. Which is okay too. Some people, they live in caves, They live in a hut somewhere in the forest. That's okay too. It's just one option amongst infinite possibilities. If people reached enlightenment who have just pretty much a normal life, you'd never think that they have actually attained something like that. But they are still doing things normally. It's just no more suffering. So we can still cultivate and change and create a beautiful life for the sake of other people's well-being and so forth, yet there is no more suffering involved in it. Now lastly, he says, replace the thought with a new, more rational and helpful thought. The emotion should fade as a result. Yes, every emotion fades. Every emotion arises and fades within consciousness. There is no such thing as an emotion that sustains itself. If we really are looking, then we see that also. That emotions are continuously in a state of flux. They're changing all the time. This is not really a solid thing. It's not some sort of brick that you can take out of yourself. And now I took out my anger and I place it over here and I don't need it anymore. I've let go of it. Emotion is not as solid as that. It is fading naturally every single time. It is an illusion to believe that an emotion lasts. There can be some emotional states, however, which are very predominant and they're constantly popping up on the surface again and again and again. Well, that is then the case that we are used to a certain emotion and we are producing it effortlessly all the time due to our ways of thinking. But even in that case, it also fades. It just fades and arises rather fast. Yeah, I would absolutely agree that replace the thought with a new, more rational and helpful thought. Absolutely do that. Whenever you recognize that the way you are thinking is an obstacle to happiness, to more joy, to a more fulfilled life, then drop it. It is not helpful. Now here's another aspect also. On the Buddhist path, there is no need, he says, to consciously replace them with more helpful thoughts. We simply learn to observe things as they are. There is no interaction happening. So you recognize anger as anger. You recognize anxiety as anxiety, simply as that, and you do nothing to it. There is no replacing, there is no trying, no struggling. What will happen when we do that? Also, the emotion and the thoughts will fade. They lose their power because you're not nourishing them anymore. And something else is revealed through this technique. There's something that is revealed which is not connected to those thoughts. Something which is free from those thoughts. Something that is on a deeper level, which is silent, knowing, and clear, undisturbed by whatever arises. Now, once that becomes revealed, there is no more need to run around and fix things. Once you're abiding as that state, things fix themselves. You have no more interest in running around and fixing the world. So even though you might, for example, change your personality in ways later on, you might change your personality, you might go around and practice patience and so forth, it is now effortless because you have found something which is superior to all practice. It is something that is deeper to cultivation. It goes, how do you say? It is a state in which cultivation has become irrelevant as there is no cultivator. There is life as it unfolds in this present moment right now, right here. Yet there is no one there that lives that life. There is just life. And that life continues to manifest moment by moment by moment, yet there is no one really there who does the moments, who does the feelings. There is no creator of these emotions. There is nobody that makes them go away either. There is no struggler. No one that is in conflict with life. Oh, here it is. There is anger, there is this emotion, there is that emotion. I need to get rid of that. It comes to affect me. It attacks me. I should change that. This kind of idea. That you're somehow at the center of experience, and all experiences come and report to you. Some of them are attacking you, and some of them are kind of benefiting you. Once that illusion is gone, that here I am and the whole world is coming to me in the form of emotion and thought and other people and life in general, I need to defend myself against the world, or I need to kind of make the world a better place. That falls away. But a funny thing happens in that case also. Your presence becomes naturally a beneficial factor in whatever circumstance you are. Your presence is naturally nourishing. It is naturally calming, soothing, relaxing. You're not anymore here with an agenda. Oh, I have to make these people over there calm. But your own peace, your own calmness has an effect. So there is an effortless manifestation of qualities. So you're not anymore trying to make quality so that later on it might be better. That falls away. Yet you could say there is still the aspect of cultivation, yet no cultivator. So therefore, whatever technique, it might be a Buddhist system or any other system, whatever system points to complete, pure presence, is a system that transcends suffering. Whatever system that deals with conditions, it will be a system that is subject to conditions. Also enslaved to conditions. So it has its limits. It is limited by the condition. Does that make sense? As soon as you're dealing with conditions, you're limited by the conditions. You say, conditions need to be a certain way for me to be happy. You're limited by conditions right now. My feelings need to be like this. My thoughts should be different. My being should be different. Only then can I be happy. I should be somewhere else at another time. Then we are slaves to time, slaves to condition. So if you truly look for freedom from that, then every system that points to your presence, to your most natural state, can guarantee you that. I personally found also that many religions, actually, Christianity and Hinduism, Buddhism and so forth, they are pointing to that actually. This is very often, unfortunately, misinterpreted, taken in a literal way. But in the Bible it has been said many, many times that God is that I am here, or I am that I am. It points to exactly that state. Buddhism points to that state of selflessness, which is an identical state. if you're not getting lost in philosophical debates about my religion and is there an I am, and then that I am, is that the self, is there the ultimate self or not, or whatever, listen to a master of any tradition speak, someone that has accomplished the goal of meditation, someone who has attained in quietude, in silence. They talk the same thing through all the time. They point to a state of awareness, of knowing, of presence, of awakening, of waking up from the dream of our mind, dreaming up a personality, dreaming up that I need to get rid of something, that I need to replace, that I am here, that I need to get there, and in order to get there I need to do this and that. All of this is dreamlike, like a dream. Now let's narrow it down. What is then truth? What is it? Is it my truth? Truth is that there are clouds in the sky right now. There are some clouds out there. Truth is that I can hear the fountain. Is that truth? Let's narrow it down a bit more, so that we all can share the same. If it is truth, it has to be something that we all experience in exactly the same way. We could say, for example, that I am conscious. Is that true? I am aware. I am. We can say I am. It's true for all of us. Doesn't matter who you would ask in this world, whatever religion, if you ask them, are you? And yes, everyone would agree, it's I am. So here we are coming closer to something that is truthful. Now, of course, you can add many things after the I am. You can add, I am Tobi, or I am a man or a woman, or I'm 33 years old, or I'm insecure, or I am anxious. You can add this stuff. I'm anxious and I need to get rid of anxiety. Now it's even more already. Becomes more and more complex now. I'm anxious and need to get rid of anxiety, and therefore I try this and that method. Hopefully it will work. See, it becomes increasingly complex. Now let's come back to that fact that we all share again. I am. Now, without even adding any words, this is an experience that can be felt. I'm very well aware that this I am is used in Vedanta philosophy, in this non-dual systems. It is to find back to the root state of I amness. But this is the same experience that is pointing to in Buddhism. The experience of complete presence. You can say things like, I am conscious, I am aware. But even deeper than that, you can challenge that thought, pointing to that sentence, I am awareness. I am consciousness. Now that is a very deep level of experience. Now there is deeper levels even after that. But here we are pointing already to something that is true for all of us. We are that consciousness based on which the entire universe appears. Or you can say, you are that to which everything appears to. Are you not? So many things come and appear to you all the time. For example, doubt. Doubt comes and appears to you. And it asks you questions. And then anger also, it comes and reports to you. It appears to you, doesn't it? Then this is a very old question. Then who are you? That all this stuff appears to, who are you? It turns you within. It turns your eyes back to the inside. You're not anymore lost in objects. Oh, I need to find myself later. I need to find myself out there. But you're looking back at yourself, at your center. I'm using language to point to an experience. Please, don't confuse my language with systems of thought. I'm pointing to something right now for you in this very moment. To the fact that here there is something that experiences. Change. There is something that experiences change, isn't there? Right now. Thoughts, emotions, constant change. And there is something that experiences that. You can also say something that knows that there is change, that knows intuitively that there is change. That knows thinking has arisen, feeling has arisen, that even knows that there is a body. Even the body appears to that. We say things like, I have a body, I'm in the body, but you could as well say the body is in me. The body appears to me. Who does the body appear to? What does the body appear to? Again, consciousness. Again, we come back to something that is aware. And we also, again and again, forgive me, we are coming back to a limit of words. I'm pointing to the experience right now that you notice that there is something aware, something awake. And there is constant appearance and disappearance of objects before you, within you. It is worthwhile taking that into consideration. This is an aspect that is lacking in modern psychology. The aspect of going really deep and asking existential questions. Yes, there is aspect of dealing with emotions, there is aspect of dealing with thoughts and changing them, and it helps a lot of people. Good. That is very nice. In Buddhism, we call that aspect of, this is the aspect of sila, of ethics, of moral, of behavior, our conduct, how we conduct ourselves. That can be changed and it is subject to condition. But then we go further than that. Also, we are empowering the mind, and also further, we are empowering our attention by letting it rest in a single point. And we go further by transcending suffering altogether, the suffering of time. What time is it? When will he stop talking? I can't stand it anymore. I need to move out. It's suffering, isn't it? And it is very evident. Suffering arises because we create time. We are not present. And then we suffer, you see. Because we are unable to relax into what is. We hope that later it'll be better. It's our secret hope, So later it will be better. So if we are never transcending that, we are stuck with a simple process of conditioning. Yes, you can use modern psychology to make your life better overall. You can have a better experience of life, a more rational experience, a bit more relaxed experience and so forth. All of this can help. However, it is not the ultimate. The ultimate can only be found once we are really pointing back to our source, to the source of everything. And we learn to fully let go of everything. And there is peace to be found. It depends what your goal is. Would you like to make your life experiences a little bit better? You have various techniques you can use. Would you like to feel deep sense of fulfillment and happiness? Then practice samadhi. Unify the mind. If you would like to experience happiness that even goes beyond that, practice vipassana. Clearly seeing truth. Like this. So I would see it in that framework. So he asked, are they complementary? Yes, they are complementary. There might also be features of CBT that are not consistent with the Buddhist path. I don't really know.
What is the CBT?
CBT is cognitive behavioral therapy. I don't really know. There might be some aspects that are not consistent. That I don't really know. I can't say that. I don't know CBT enough for that. And also there is fortunately no need really to study so much other systems. It is enough to study one's own mind and let go and arrive at peace. And that is rather simple. It's a rather simple process. Nothing complicated. Okay, I think for today.